Sunday, we began by taking a little assessment to see where we are with fully experiencing, fully living, fully engaged in a life that has a pathway of God's plenty, in a life that is a journey of joy by living God's purpose through us, and by being on a course of conscious creation. That's actually our theme for the month. A pathway of God's plenty, a journey of joy living from Spirit's purpose, and a course of conscious creation. That's our theme for the month. And last Sunday, we began our time together with a little assessment to see kind of where you are on those three dimensions. How many remember that assessment? Oh, a couple of you do. Good. Okay, good. The rest of you have blocked it out of your memory. I don't, or you weren't here, one or the other. So because of that, we're going to take that assessment again. And we don't do this to instill guilt or shame or, boy, you're bad because, no, it's only to know where we are. Because my hope and my desire and my intention for this month is that we all move a notch up in where we would assess ourselves on these three dimensions or three elements. So let us put on the screen, if it's not there already, yes, let's put our first one up. And our first question, our first assessment question is this. Now, if you were here last week, you may notice something different about this one, or you may not. Anybody notice anything different about this one? See, so I didn't even need to mention this because you don't remember. Well, I tweaked myself because I'm always changing things and, adapting. I even have, revised Jesus's quotes because I thought of a way I thought it could be better. So I realized that's what I do. That's what I do. But I do it to myself as well. And last week, I didn't really quite like the side of the left side. It didn't get to what I meant. And as I was working this week, it hit me, well, I could have had a V8 kind of thing. This is what it is. So in case any of you do think that, this isn't quite like it was last week, you're right, it isn't. But this is really more in line with what I'm looking for us to assess. So the first level of assessment is, on the side of a 1, our life is a life of struggle. And by that I mean financial struggle. That we're always kind of, there's more month at the end of there's more month at the end of the checkbook than there is checkbook at the end of the month, or however that goes. So a 1 is that we're there on a more often than we'd like basis. A 5 is that we are absolutely living in the flow of God's plenty. We have an ongoing experience of that. And this thing about financial abundance is not even an issue. I don't even have to think about it because it's just there. So without guilt, without any self-flagellation or anything like that, because we don't do any of that here, just to anchor in and just be honest. This is not, you don't have to answer this aloud. It's a rhetorical question, but where would you put yourself on that continuum from 1 to 5? And just make a note of that. And if you're taking notes, I would even say write it down, because I do want us to look at the end of the month and say, so have we shifted all? Where have we moved to? So 1 to 5, where in the middle would you be? And our intention is, as I said, to move that at least 1 notch up. Okay, assessment number 2 is this. Is your journey through life unsatisfying? You don't feel on purpose. You don't feel like you have a reason, a direction. You're just kind of floating around with no purpose. Or you feel totally filled with joy and meaning and know that your life is on purpose, that you are living what Spirit in you wants to live, that you are fulfilling the reason you came here in this physical body to be God in expression as. You know that. You are clear about that. So a 1 is not a clue and you're pretty unsatisfied. 5 is you got it, you know it, and it's bringing you joy and meaning. So where are you there? That's our second assessment. And then our third is this. Do you feel like you are on a course to nowhere? That's a 1. Or a 5 would be that you are working in harmony with divine law to consciously create your steps in life, to consciously create your experience in life. So are you letting life happen to you? That would be a 1. Or are you directing and guiding your own life? That would be a 5. Where are you in that continuum? So that's our assessment for the month and gets to our theme for the month. Y'all got it? Yeah. All right. Good. Got it. Good. All right. So, as I said last week, our theme this month has been inspired by two books. They're right here. One of them is a brand new book, hot off the press, came out this year by May McCarthy, The Path to Wealth, 7 Spiritual Steps to Financial Abundance. The second one is over 100 years old. It is written by Wallace Wattles, and it is called The Science of Getting Rich, the Proven Mental Program to a Life of Wealth. Now, interesting, both of these books, obviously from the titles, are about financial wealth. Yes, it's true, they are. But they and our work together this month is about so much more. Financial wealth is a piece of it, yes, and it's not an unimportant piece, but it's not the whole enchilada. The whole enchilada is finding those, living at a 5 or higher of those 3 things, which means living a life we love living, that we are excited to get up in the morning because this life, this day gives us yet another opportunity to live the life that we so love. My purpose for this month and our theme is to help us live in harmony with our divine purpose. Spirit has implanted itself in you for a specific reason, to bring forth something. I want us to find that and live from that. And then the final reason is to live a life by design, not by default. We're always creating our life. We can never not create. We are always creating our life. But we're either creating it by default or by design. So my intention for us is that we move into the place of creating it by design. And these 2 books are very helpful in that. Very, very helpful. So if you want to dig into them, because obviously we can't get into every point that 2 books makes in just a month's time. If you want to dig into these books, we are selling them in a bundle package, just like you can buy your internet and your phone services in a bundle. You can buy your insurance in a bundle. Well, you can buy these 2 books in a bundle as well today and this week, and they're on a discount if you do that. So in our Wisdom Center bookstore if you'd like to do that. All right, so last week we established the idea that we need to work in partnership to have a true, working, ongoing, deeply connected relationship with our CSO. What does CSO stand for? Chief Spiritual Officer. Now, who is our Chief Spiritual Officer? Some employee of our business? No, who is the Chief Spiritual Officer? The voice that loves us. Very good, Wendy. Yes. So our Chief Spiritual Officer is not someone or even something outside of us. It is the God of our being, the higher intelligence that lives in us, but that is greater than we are. You know, one of Ernest Holmes' most famous quotes, beyond change your thinking, change your life, which was probably his most famous quote, but I would say his second most famous quote is, "There is a power for good in this universe greater than we are." And what? Say that louder because you know it. We can use it. There is a power for good in this universe greater than we are, and we can use it. So it's this power in the universe that is in us, but it is greater than we are, that we connect with. That's our CSO, that we have a relationship with, that we're in partnership with all the time, not just when things are challenging, which is often when we turn to our CSO, which is often when we turn to God, when we've tried it our way, we've done everything we know to do. Oh, wow, maybe I ought to pray. Oh, wow, maybe I ought to connect with Source. Oh, maybe I ought to turn this over to God. Oh, I should have had a V8 kind of thing, right? No, we go there first. We create that relationship and not only create it, it's already there. We don't have to create it, but it's consciously created. We cultivate it. We spend time in it. We nurture it. So what we said last week also is that in this relationship with our CSO, there were 4 things, and only 4 things that we need to do. So I want to do a quick review of that before we get into our work for today. Who remembers at least one of the 4 things? Yes, let me hear it. Get clear about what you want. That is your job on the ledger of what is the CSO's job and what is your job. Getting clear about what you want is it is the first thing. And so if you are not clear about that, work with a spiritual life coach here to help you do that. Take classes. They will help you. We're in a beautiful class right now, Prosperity Plus 2. You could join this week. This would be the last week you could jump in that class if you wanted to, but we're going to get so clear about what you want in that class. You're going to have a chance to really hone in on what it is you want. So that's the first thing. What's the second thing?
Consciously stay in alignment with what you want.
Oh, Catherine, nicely done. Consciously stay in alignment with what you want, not what you don't want, which is usually where we hang out. Okay, I want this, but I've got all of this, and I don't like this, and I don't want this, and whoa, that's going to happen, and woe is me. That does not support what we want. So our job is to stay focused on what we want. What's the third? Did I hear the last part? That's what I wanted to hear, yes. Be grateful in advance for that manifestation, demonstration, experience of that which you want. Be grateful, thank you again for that amazing song, in advance. And what's the fourth one? Damn the torpedoes. Okay, that's not exactly what I said, but I think that is it. And what does damn the torpedoes mean? Full speed ahead. It means listen to the guidance that you get from your CSO, from the voice that loves you, and then go forward in it. Yes, exactly. Those are our four things. And then we let the CSO do the rest. Now, someone sitting in this room who I won't point out, Dan, I won't point him out, said to me after service on Sunday last week that, I actually think turning it over to God is a fifth thing, because sometimes, right, how many of us feel this way? That can be one of the hardest things, is actually to turn everything else over to our CSO. Those are our four things, and everything else is God's job. But don't we want to get into God's job all the time? We just want to mess with God's job. But no, God's job, the CSO's job, is to give us the opportunities to put them in front of us, to put in front of us the resources that we need, to put in front of us in our minds the ideas that we're going to then full speed ahead, to give us the people that maybe we need to connect with, whatever it is. That is God's job, and we must let go and let God. So here we go. Let's say this. Today, I let go and let God. Today, I let go and let God. Wow. That was good. That was with some serious power. I'm loving that. All right. So that takes us to today. And I told you that in anticipation of this week, or last week I said, today we would talk about having a daily meeting with our CSO. Just like in the little story I told you, the teaching story, not the true story, about Lord and Taylor last week, about how Taylor got his partner and sat down every day and had a meeting. We want to sit down every day and have a meeting with our CSO. And I told you that there would be a little gift for you, or a tool for you to use to help you with this meeting. And I promised to give you that. In fact, it's already there for you. All you have to do is reach out and get it. Now, isn't that a great metaphor for life? Isn't that a great metaphor? All you have to do is reach out, or if you're in the front row, perhaps turn around. And sometimes we got to look back there, right? All we have to do is reach out and get it. And so if you would reach out into the pew pocket in front of you, there's a purple piece of cardstock, easily identified from all the other things that are in that pew pocket. That is your daily agenda for your meeting with the voice that loves you, with your CSO, with God. And we're going to go over this agenda this morning, and then we're going to have an experience of this agenda this morning, a short experience. So this comes out of the Path to Wealth, this idea of having this meeting. And Mae McCarthy in her book gives a challenge. So I am going to give you all this challenge. It's a 30-day challenge to have this meeting every day for 30 days. 30 days to help you create a habit and a pattern, and to let you see, to prove that when you have this relationship with the divine, your life will be a path of plenty, will be a journey of joy, and will absolutely be a course of conscious creation. And therefore you will live at a higher order, a level of a higher order of being, which is very fun and exciting, and what we're here to do. So 30 days doing this will give you the opportunity to see, like someone who will be nameless, Fran, this week told me, and I quote, "This stuff really works." She sent me an email this week. "This stuff really works," and I love it. Yeah, so this 30-day challenge, should you choose to accept it, will help you see and prove. Ernest Holmes, our founder, says that our faith does not birth forth fully orbed. I like that phrase. It does not birth forth fully orbed. We have to develop it. We have to nurture it. And we develop and nurture it by having experiences that show us that we can have faith. So this 30 days will help you see, oh, you can absolutely trust Source, God, CSO, the infinite, whatever term you want to use, you can absolutely trust when you are in conscious partnership with it and doing your 4 things, which are, one more time, what? Number 1, tell me out loud. Thank you. All right, now I'd like all of you to participate on the next one. What's the second one? Stay in alignment. The third one. Fourth one. Listen to the guidance and follow it. Or, as Charles says, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. Yes, right. Every one of those items will be addressed in your morning, and I suggest you offer it as a morning practice. 30 minutes or less. So we're going to talk now about the agenda, which is on that page for you to take home. We'll also have it up on the website for those of you who are watching us online. We will have this on the website so you can download it for yourselves and have it as well. So you all got it, right? It looks like this. I forgot I had one up here. All right, our first agenda item is to do daily inspirational reading. Now, I know many of you are in classes, and so you are reading always, but I don't mean your class material. I want you to read something specific. How many of you are familiar with Bob Proctor? Many people are familiar with the prosperity teacher, Bob Proctor. He certainly is one who, for decades, has lived on a pathway of God's good and plenty. Not the candy, but but maybe that too, I don't know. But that's not what I meant just then. He has lived a journey of joy and purpose, and he absolutely is on a course of conscious creation. He tells his students that they should read and study and digest and read and study and digest and read and study and digest, again, this book. And he particularly says that we should read, study, and digest. In fact, he gives a challenge, which I'm not giving you right now, but if you want to just like go crazy with this, here it is. His challenge is for 90 days, read chapters 4, 7, 11, and 14. After you've read the whole book, of course. You've read the whole book. And then, for 90 days, you read 4, 7, 11, and 14. All 4 of them for 90 days. I'm not giving you that challenge. What I am giving you as part of our 30 days is to read 1 chapter out of this book every day, and then we're going to roll around to 4, 7, 11, and 14. So on that little piece of paper that you have, that card, there's a reading schedule. And assuming you start this tomorrow you're going to read the preface and chapter 1. And I want to, just to give you a little bit of a head start, I want to share a passage from this. But before I do, I want to ask, and this is rhetorical, you don't have to answer it out loud. This is called the science of getting rich, a proven method, a proven mental program to a life of wealth. Rich, wealth, rich, wealth. Does that sit not quite right with anybody? Like, oh my goodness, we're in church and we're talking about material goods. Ugh. 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 So you don't have to answer that, but I want you to notice if there's anything in you that says we shouldn't be talking about rich. I mean, maybe being comfortable, that's okay, but not rich. Maybe we could have, enough to get by, but not wealthy. Well, I want to suggest that we can do a heck of a lot more good and a heck of a lot more with our lives if we have boatloads of this symbol, which is all it is, this symbol for being able to do what we want to do, have what we want to have, go where we want to go, and give what we want to give. This symbol that is money. So if you have any about the idea and any disconnect between being highly spiritual and highly conscious and a beautiful citizen of humankind and being wealthy, then the first chapter is going to be really great for you, but I want to share a piece of it that will help. He writes, every person naturally wants to become all that they are capable of becoming. Would you say that that's true? You want to be all that you are capable of becoming, yes? This desire to realize innate possibilities is inherent in human nature. We cannot help wanting to be all that we can be. Success in life is becoming what you want to be. And you can render to God and humanity no greater service than to make the most of yourself. I love that last line. You can render to God and humanity no greater service than to make the most of yourself. And to make the most of yourself, pretty much you need to have access to this symbol for doing what you want to do, being what you want to be, going where you want to go, and give what you want to give. You need to have access to it. You don't necessarily have to have it. I mean, look at Mother Teresa. She lived on purpose. She did not have, personally, any money, but she amassed millions and millions of dollars for her work. So, people like to say, well, Mother Teresa lived in poverty. Oh, well, yeah. Maybe she did not live a woohoo highfalutin life materially because that's not what she wanted. But she amassed millions of dollars to do her work in the world. So, your first agenda item every single morning is to read the section that is on your list from the book. That is agenda number 1. And again, I say this whole thing takes 30 minutes or less. Your reading from this textbook, should take about 10 minutes. Depending on how long the chapter is, maybe not even that long. If it doesn't take 10 minutes, what I would recommend you do is go back to a few of the places that you really liked and just read them again. Think about it. Take your full 10 minutes to read, because these chapters aren't very long. It's not a very long book. All right? So that's agenda item number 1. Despite what other reading you're doing, whatever spiritual practices you have, that's all wonderful. Whatever reading you're doing for your classes, we're going to be doing this. Who actually, I want a show of hands. Who wants to be committed to this for 30 days? Who wants to do it? Yay, good, yay, good. Good for you. All right, so here we go. Item number 2 is to write a letter of advance gratitude. Write a letter of advance gratitude. Deborah Norville, who is a TV anchor and journalist, once said, "What I've learned is there's a scientifically proven phenomenon that's attached to gratitude, and that if you consciously take note of what is good in your life, quantifiable benefits happen." I love that. I love that coming from the secular world. I think that's very cool. But listen to this one from our New Thought world, written by Unity minister Eric Butterworth in his book Spiritual Economics. And this one is really powerful to me. I have not heard this before. I've not run across this quote before. That's not true. I have, because I've read Spiritual Economics, but I didn't remember it until I did some research for this talk. All the substance of the universe, all the wealth that has ever manifested itself or ever will manifest itself in this world is present right now. This is why Jesus said, "I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." He means a life that is rich and fulfilled, healthy, prosperous, loving. Only our lack of perception, lack of the grateful heart, keeps us from experiencing it. That's good. Only our lack of the grateful heart keeps us from experiencing it. We have the choice. We have the choice to be great or small. When we are grateful, we are great. When we become lax in the expression of gratitude, we become little people with little minds, leading little inconsequential lives. Ooh, well, that one just kind of, boom, nails it, doesn't it? When we become lax in the expression of gratitude, we become little people with little minds, leading little inconsequential lives. Well, I know none of us wants to live little inconsequential lives. None of us wants to have little minds or be little people. I know that. We want to be big. We want to be great. We want to express in the highest way possible. I know that, or you wouldn't be sitting in this room. So gratitude is what takes us to that greatness, according to Eric Butterworth, and I think that's perfect. So for the next 10 minutes in your daily practice for these 30 days is going to be 10 minutes, and time it, set a timer so you spend 10 minutes of journaling, written by hand if you want, typed out, however you want to do it, whatever works for you. 10 minutes of journaling of what you are so grateful for in your desires, in your purpose, as if it has already happened. Because the things that you're desiring haven't really happened yet. But you are going to write a letter of gratitude. I am so happy and grateful now that I experience. Oh man, it feels so good to live a life that has blah, 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 blah in it. I am so happy and thankful and just live in amazing, always open gratitude because I now have this relationship that is, right? 10 minutes, whatever you want to write that you're grateful for. Something may come to you as you're writing that you hadn't even put on your list of these are the things that I'm being called to be, do, or have, or experience. Well, that's okay. Jot that down as a new idea and write how grateful for you are for it. In this practice, you're going to do it every day. Don't just dust off the day before's letter. It's a new letter every day. Now, it may have some of the same things in it as you're still working to manifest them, demonstrate them, bring them into your experience, but make it be a fresh new letter every day. Put some passion and enthusiasm in it. Put some feeling in it. Put some oomph in it. Because the more of that you put in it, the more powerful it is. We know that our word alone, our thought alone is powerful, but it amps up the vibration like a bazillion times when we add passion and feeling to it. So write in this letter what you are grateful for in advance with passion and enthusiasm. Be grateful for all the people who have helped you be who you are today. Be grateful for all those experiences, as the song so beautifully said, that led you to right now. Be grateful for all the people that will come into your life that are going to support you in this journey, that'll be people along the path who connect you with this, who set up with this and help you with that. And you know those paths? You know, I love that statement that Steve Jobs said at a commencement address not too long before he passed away, that we can only connect the dots by looking back. And it's only by looking back that we can go, oh, that's why I knew that person. Oh, that's why that happened. Oh, that's why, so I could get here. Well, in this letter of gratitude, go ahead and throw some gratitude in for those back there and those that will be that you don't even know yet. Gratitude, we know this. I talk about this all the time, but it's just so powerful. It's a high vibration energy. It's up there, way high up there with love and joy. Gratitude is way up there. And when we vibrate at that higher level, we are just attracting into our lives that which we desire. It's really a beautiful thing. May McCarthy suggests that when we are writing gratitude in advance, we help get over, and I believe this completely, the biggest obstacle we have to bringing our dreams into fruition. And the biggest obstacle we have are our doubts and our disbelief, our unbelief. You know, Jesus, the master teacher, said, "It is done unto you as you believe." He said that to a centurion, somebody who was like not on his side, but who came to Jesus and said, "My son is ill. Would you please heal him?" He said, "Now I'm not worthy," these were his words, "I'm not worthy of you coming to my house to be with my son. But if you were just to," I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said, "if you would just speak the word here, I know that my son would be healed." And Jesus said to the centurion, "Go home. Go home." And he said to his disciples, "I have never seen faith like this man has. It is through his faith that it is done. It is through his belief that it is done." There's another time when a man came to Jesus. Again, it was his son who was very ill. And the man said, "I want my son healed." And Jesus said, "Just believe, he is healed." And the father said to Jesus, in the scripture, it's in Mark, he said, and he cried out and said with tears, "Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief." Wait a minute, what's that? I believe, help thou mine unbelief. Well, I believe, my interpretation of that is the I believe is like, I want to believe. Okay, I really want to believe. But the truth is, the fact is, I don't. So help me with my unbelief. That's the King James Version, which I really like. But I love the Lamsa version. The Lamsa is an interpretation of the Bible by George Lamsa, which is directly from the original language, not through Greek and other before it got to English. It's direct from the original to English. And in that, it's a little bit different. It says, the father of the boy cried out weeping and said, I do believe, help my little faith. Help my little faith. Help me build my faith. Being grateful in advance builds our faith. So that is your second item on your agenda for your daily meeting with your CSO. And as I said before, writing in a journal is really good. I know many of you are journalers and you probably have like 20 journals already, not all of which are full. But in the event that you need a journal, we got some journals in our bookstore. We purchased some this week so that if you want to hit this and today even, and you don't want to wait to have to go buy a journal, you can get a journal in our bookstore. We have some, and we have some that are handmade as well. If you want a really fancy, beautiful journal, they're there as well. So journals are in there as well as the books themselves. All right, agenda item number 3 is to read your letter of gratitude out loud. Not to yourself, out loud. Read it out loud. There is power in the spoken word. We talk about vibration. I did a minute ago about our level of vibration. When we speak aloud, we are taking that vibration that if we're just thinking it, we've got it in here. When we speak it aloud, out it goes. So read your letter out loud. We allot 5 minutes for this. It won't take 5 minutes. I'm doing this, so I timed mine yesterday. It took about a minute and a half for me to read my 10 minutes worth of writing. So maybe speak it out loud a couple of times so that you really get and speak it with some what? With some what? Passion and emotion. You got it. Absolutely, with some passion and emotion. And the final, well, not final, but the fourth thing that you will do in your daily meeting with your CSO, agenda item number 4, is to, we know this practice. We all talk about it, but the question is, do we do it? Is we visualize, we see it in our mind's eye, we live it in our mind's eye, we fully feel ourselves being that person who is expressing and doing, being, having all that you are desiring. So take whatever you want out of what you've written and spend 5 minutes, that's all, 5 minutes seeing yourself being that person. We know metaphysically the power of visualization. I love it that sports has known this forever as well. Do you know who the most highly decorated Olympiad is? Who is it? Who's won the most Olympic medals? Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps has won 19. Nobody else in the history of humankind doing any sport has won 19 medals. Do you know what he attributes it to? And it isn't just his arm span, although that's pretty impressive. Did you know his arm span is more than he is tall? Yeah, and he's pretty tall. Yeah, I read that as I was doing some research on him. Yeah, but what does he attribute his success to? Anybody know? Visualizing. Every night, he said he plays his videotapes. That's what he calls it. Since he was 7 years old, he has played videotapes of him winning the race and seeing himself swimming perfectly, executing it flawlessly, and winning. He's done that since he was 7. Every night before he goes to sleep, before he has a match or a meet. Other sports figures, Michael Jordan attributes his success to visualizing. Jack Nicklaus, yes, I always want to say Nicholson. It's Nicholas, right? Nicholas, actor, golfer, I know, I get him confused. Golfer, Jack Nicklaus. Boxer, Muhammad Ali. All of them attribute their success in their sport to visualizing. I love this there's a thing out there called Mind Movies, and the co-founder of it, Natalie Nedwell, says, when people learn how to use visualization, they gain the ability to mentally condition themselves for unstoppable success in all kinds of life events and goals, not just like Michael Phelps and in sports, but in any endeavor. So take a portion of your letter and set the timer or watch the clock a little bit, 5 minutes, of visualizing with passion, putting yourself in, putting on the garment of your life that you would love to live. All right, there is a fifth agenda item. This isn't necessarily the last thing to do. It can happen at any point in your meeting, but what it is to pay attention to any inner nudgings, any guidance, anything from the voice that loves you, your intuition that says, I ought to call so-and-so. I ought to apply for this job over here. I ought to take this step. I ought to do that. Pay attention to that inner guidance. Write it down so you don't forget, and then go do it. That is your CSO giving you guidance. And if you recall, the fourth thing on your things to do is to follow the guidance. And we will always now call that, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. That's what that one is. Thank you for that, Charles. We will always call it that. Yeah. And once at any point in your time that with your CSO, you write that down. And, my friends, meeting is then adjourned. And you go about your day, empowered and powerful. I can pretty much promise you 30 days of this every day, and you will see movement in your life. You will see manifestations of your dreams. You will see experiences happen that just happen to fall out of the blue, wherever the blue is. So this has all been very heady and intellectual this morning, and I like very much to give you an experience also. So we're going to have a short, it won't be 30 minutes, I promise, a short CSO meeting right now if you would like to participate. If you would like to, I invite you to close your eyes. And Pam, if we could have a little meeting music, please. I love giving you those kind of challenges. That's perfect. So I'm going to start by reading from the Science of Getting Rich. So just settle in, take a breath. This is a passage about gratitude. I thought it would be perfect to set our tone for our mini meeting this morning. Gratitude alone can keep you looking toward the all. That's a capital A, meaning God. So let's back up and start that again now that we know what that word means. Gratitude alone can keep you looking toward the all and prevent you from falling into the error of thinking of the supply as limited. There is a law of gratitude, and it is absolutely necessary that you should observe this law if you are to get the results you seek. The grateful outreaching of your mind in thankful praise to the Supreme is a liberation of force. It cannot fail to reach that which it is addressed, and the reaction is an instantaneous movement toward you. Draw nigh unto God, and God will draw nigh unto you. That is a statement of psychological truth. Draw nigh unto God, and God will draw nigh unto you. So let's do that right now by identifying a desire, a hope, a dream that you have. Big or small makes no difference. Easy or scary makes no difference. Just to identify a desire. And right now, as if you were writing your letter of gratitude, feel grateful for the manifestation of it. Feel grateful for the resources that have come your way, the opportunities, the events, the people, the path that is opened and cleared for you to have this manifestation. Feel grateful for the way you have grown so that you may be the person who manifests this dream. Feel grateful right now for every experience that led you to this time, even those that may have been challenging. Right now, bless every person on your path, those in the past, even those that may have been challenging, as well as those who have clearly, you can see, have had a hand in who you are and bringing forth your good. And be grateful for all those people in the future who are coming into your life, who support your dream and whose dreams you support. Feel grateful right now for this amazing, renewed, and deepened relationship that you have with your personal CSO, with the God of your being, with the voice that lives in you that loves you, with this essence of life that is you and is greater than you. Give thanks right now for the relationship, new, renewed, deepened, that you have with the God of your being. And now, I'm going to ask you to take 30 seconds. 30 seconds to speak out loud. Yes, I did say that. Out loud. It can be softly. It can be loud. I don't care. We're all going to do it together. I won't because I'm on the mic, but I want all of you to do this. Just speak aloud your letter of gratitude. The things that you just had in your head that you said you were grateful for, I want you to say them now out loud for 30 seconds. And when you hear this beautiful crystal bowl gong, the 30 seconds are up. So keep speaking aloud for 30 seconds, beginning now. Passion. Enthusiasm. Keep talking. Keep going. And finally, we're going to take 30 seconds to see ourselves living this life that we love, to see ourselves living in harmony with our divine nature and on purpose, to see ourselves living a life by design rather than by default. 30 seconds, seeing yourself in that picture. Begin now. And we anchor it all in a knowing that as we had a shift in consciousness this morning, as we have moved our vibration up, as we have expanded our thinking and our believing, as we have opened up our beliefs, so it is done. And how beautiful, how wonderful, how absolutely holy, holy, holy this is. Thank you, God. And so it is.